change in the line of succession for the British throne. And that's because of the birth of the baby Sussex, Lili Diana Mountbatten Windsor, was born on June the 4th, and so because of that, things have changed a bit. Of course, that means that the Duke of York has been pushed back one. So, in first place, you have Prince Charles, the Prince of Wales. You have Prince William, the Duke of Cambridge. And then number 3, there's Prince George of Cambridge. Number 4 is Princess Charlotte of Cambridge. Number 5, Prince Louis of Cambridge. Number 6, Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex. And number 7, Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor. And number 8, Lili Diana Mountbatten Windsor. So that pushes the Duke of York further down the pecking order. So now he's number 9. As you know, the Duke of York has suffered a few setbacks in his working royal career, and he has associated himself with some unsavory characters, most notably Jeffrey Epstein. So he's all but retired from royal duty, and as far as any of these people further down the line is concerned, they're not likely to ever see the throne unless the rest of the family has a really bad day. So number 10, Princess Beatrice. Number 11, Princess Eugenie. And then, of course, August Philip Hawke Brooksbank. And number 13 is the Earl of Wessex, the one I call Uncle Pennywise. I'm so bad. And then there's James Viscount Severn. And then there's Lady Louisa. And then, of course, Afro Annie. Yes, Afro Annie. The Princess Royale, as they call her, which is an ancient title. It's usually reserved for the eldest daughter of the sovereign. It's like saying favorite daughter, Princess Royale. And then further down is Peter Phillips. And then there's Savannah Phillips, Isla Phillips. And then, of course, there's Zara Tongue Ring Tyndale Phillips. Yes, she has a tongue ring. A royal daughter with a tongue ring. Never thought I would see the day. And then, of course, Mia Grace Tyndall, Lena Elizabeth Tyndall. I'm still thinking about that ring. Woo! I mean, how do you just... Oh, never mind. The Queen's granddaughter has a tongue ring. We are not amused. Anyway, so that's the royal line of succession as it stands today. So, on this channel, the only people we care about is the Duke of Sussex. I'll just say it. I'm going to say what everybody's thinking. The only people we care about is the Duke of Sussex and, of course, Archie and Lili. The rest of them, whatever. I'm sure they're nice people. I'm in a good mood because I am still excited about this baby. I mean, it's just... I feel like I want to just be a part of this whole thing. I guess this is as close as I can get, but I'll take it. I mean, I'm just excited. I mean, Sunday was emotional for me. So, there has been a lot of discussion about titles, and some of you people in the squad don't really care about that, and some of you people in the squad really do care about that. So I'll explain it to you as best I can. I believe the only reason why the York children, that's Beatrice and Eugenie, I think they only got their title as princesses because the Queen decided to convey those titles upon them as a favor to her favorite son, the Duke of York. The Duke of York, from what they report, again, I don't know, so I'm not going to say for sure because I'm willing to say, as someone who report things about the Sussexes, and by default, that kind of makes me somewhat of a royal reporter of sorts, although I would rather be compared to an axe murderer than for someone to call me a royal reporter. But so let's say if I'm working in that capacity right now, I believe the only reason why the York children got those titles is because the Queen offered those titles to all of her grandkids, and Princess Anne declined because she didn't want this horrendous life for her children. And I believe the same things go for the Wessexes. That is such a tough one for me. Isn't that interesting? I could say the Sussexes easily, but it's difficult for me to say the Wessexes. One would think I didn't like them, Pennywise and Ford Fiesta. Although she got a new name Sunday, people are calling her Jalopy. Either way, I don't mind making fun of them because I think they are cruel people. I think they don't have enough to do in that sprawling estate that neither one of them could afford on their own. So I don't mind poking fun at them. And so I believe that, if I'm correct, that the Queen can confer those titles on anyone in the family she chooses. And for a long time, people who stayed at the Kensington Palace and some other places, which are, but let's just say principally Kensington Palace, they weren't even paying rent. Those people were living in grace and favor residences, which means that the Queen could just kind of put them up in the Crown Estate properties and they didn't even have to pay rent. Now they pay rent because of some public outcry. So now the Queen pays some symbolic taxes because of public outcry. So if anyone says that the public's complaints, the public's concerns do not matter, you would be wrong. You would be wrong. And so let's get to the Cambridges. Well, yes, after Prince Charles, Prince William will become the Prince of Wales. Again, I believe, from what I can understand, because when you listen to these so-called royal experts and royal reporters, you'll hear a lot of inconsistencies. The Queen conferred those titles upon William's kids as a favor, as a way of saying, you know, they're next. And the other thing to change, see, people say this stuff is written in stone, but it's not. Around the same time when Charlotte was born, there was a change in law which made it possible for whoever the next born, or actually I think it was when George was born, so George, Charlotte, Louis. When George was born, or perhaps after when George's birth, they changed the law that said whoever was the next child for the Duke of Cambridge would be the future reigning sovereign, meaning that instead of having it, I think they call it primogeniture. Anyway, instead of having it the eldest male, it's whoever comes first. So if Princess Anne would have been born before Prince Charles, he would still be the next heir apparent because he was born male. Now, if they were born in these so-called modern times, then Prince Anne could actually be the next in line if she was born before Charles. And so, as it is now, Princess Anne is like behind the Duke of York, Randy Andy, and he's the one that's married to That sounds so bad, but I have a nickname for all of them. Toe Suck Ferguson. If you remember, she had those pictures where somebody was sucking on her toes. But woo, I am having too much fun. As you know, sometimes when I'm making these recordings, I have a coffee mug that's bigger than my head. So that's exactly what's going on right now. I am loaded with carbs and coffee, and I'm having fun with this recording. So yeah, you got Sarah Tosuck Ferguson. I didn't even need to say that, but I just love saying it. I've lost track of where I am, but anyway, if I'm correct, I was talking about the Cambridges. So how did I get to Sarah and Randy? Andy, I don't know. Oh my God. Anyway, so there is the line of succession made easy. Actually, it has been complicated by my delirium, but if I was you, I would go and read about it. Don't take my word for it, because like I said, there's so many inconsistencies with that where things are. But the long and the short of it is this: if the Queen decided she wanted Archie to be Prince Archie before she dies, she could have done that. If she wanted Lili to be a princess before she dies, she could also do that. It is really up to her to confer those titles upon them. So far, she has decided to skip that. I don't know how much of that is up to her or how much of it is up to Prince Charles. Either way, when Prince Charles goes to that big high grove in the sky, Prince William, of course, will be the next one conferring those titles. But whenever the Queen goes to that big Windsor in the sky, automatically Meghan will become known as Princess Meghan. And of course, the two children will become a prince and princess. That much I am very sure of. And so with the whole Oprah interview, there was this whole thing about them wanting to change that rule so that these children of color could not have those titles. I hope that's not the case, but it seems like that's where that whole conversation was going. And I'm going to tell you, let me get a little more serious here. When Angela Jalisa Brown married into the Principality of Liechtenstein, she was actually like the first modern woman of color, and in particular, let's say a woman of African descent, to marry into one of these royal households. When that happened, half of the people in the Liechtenstein family were like, uh-oh, here's the beginning of the end. Some of them just refused to go to the wedding, which was held in Manhattan. The other half, the most important half, said, oh yeah, we're going. And not only are we going to go, but she is going to wear the royal tiara that belongs to the Liechtenstein family, the same tiara that every bride has worn for, 100, 200 years, whatever it was. So it just goes to show the rot really does start from the top. Are you following me? The rot starts from the top. And that is not to disparage the Queen. As I have often said, I do not dislike the Queen, but we don't know how much power this 95-year-old woman is wielding nowadays compared to the Prince of Wales, who by all accounts have taken over quite a few of her responsibilities. Now, I don't know if the Prince receives that red box, a box full of documents that is signed by the sovereign. So essentially, the laws are passed in Parliament, and it uses the sovereign's consent to sign those laws into effect. And so for years, the Queen has done that herself. She always was the only person that would look at that box. But as some of these responsibilities have been transferred to the Prince of Wales, I don't know how much of this stuff he's actually able to do and how much he controls, or how much he controls his mother. You know, it must be the mother of all guilt trips that your son that is 72 years old is still waiting patiently for you to take your last breath. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I mean, essentially, he doesn't really have full control until after she passes away. That is a weird position to be in. Nobody would have thought when she became queen at age 25 that he would be waiting around like this, but he is. And we'll never see anything like this again for a long time, if ever. Not likely to happen again. One of the reasons why we're in this position is because the Windsor men tend to die young. Well, not anymore. That chain has been broken. So they're living longer. And women, well, they pretty much always have lived long. And the few women sovereigns that they've had in the England or Britain, they've all had some pretty long lives. Elizabeth I, of course, Elizabeth II, Queen Victoria, they have lived pretty long. Of course, you had those other ones like Anne who died kind of young. But anyway, not to lose track. So yeah, that's where we stand with these titles. It's important to some people. I really want those children to have their birthright. It's not the most important thing in the world. And, you know, I don't have to live their lives, and I can't even promise or guarantee that this is the best possible way for them to live, but they will never not be royal. And no matter what anybody tells you, I'm going to tell you one more thing I know for sure. I don't know everything about this stuff, but I do follow a lot of it. Meghan is HRH, Princess Henry of Wales. In other words, she's already a princess, and she's always going to be a princess. Harry, he's been a prince since birth, and he will always be a prince. And so whoever he's married to, that is his princess. And so no matter what these haters try to tell you in the comment sections, oh, they left their titles, they agreed to not use those titles for the purposes of commerce. They're not going to use those titles. So when I say titles, I do mean HRH. But if you want to announce either one of them on stage, you definitely can call them HRH. That's not commerce. But for the book, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, that's perfectly acceptable. She did not use the HRH. Outside of the United Kingdom, his or her Royal Highness doesn't mean a whole lot to the rest of us. But where government functions and such are concerned, is kind of part of their constitution. So we can call them whatever we want because we're not over there. So it has no impact on us. But that is Princess Meghan as far as I'm concerned. I believe she's earned whatever comes with that. And of course, Harry, God knows he's earned it. So anyway, this has gotten kind of long. And I don't know. Should I do another Camilla or not? I know some of you all are waiting for me to work a Camilla in there, but I'm not sure I want to give you the satisfaction of mentioning Camilla. She's got her own problems, and so does Prince Charles for that matter. So I have gone on much longer than I planned. This was fun. I hope you learned something. If you haven't, I'm not surprised. Do some research on your own, but that's the best way I understand all of this stuff. Also, there's one other resource that you could use. It's called Burke's Peerage. It's a book of all the blue bloods. And you know what I like to do sometimes with the haters? I will actually cut and paste a little bit of the language from the description in the Wikipedia, and then I'll show them the cover of Burke's Peerage. I'll actually, if I can upload that photo to the comments on Facebook, I'll do that. And it just reminds people that no matter what you say or what you do, Meghan has been immortalized for the ages in Burke's Peerage. And if you don't know what that book is, as I said, it's a book of all the blue bloods, of all the people who have ever been associated through marriage or birth with that family. So I'm just saying, share that with the haters and see if they don't, well, they're going to hate anyway. But all right, you guys, thanks. Please like and share. Donate to this channel. If there's any part of what I said today that you don't understand, I'll be glad to explain it in the comment section. Or I'll make a referral where you can find the information. But all I can picture is a train that has gone off the rails. I don't know what it is about talking about these Windsors that just trigger me, but God, they're so funny. They're like a circus act, aren't they? Okay, gotta go. Thanks.